Rob Jones, the fastest feet at Roberts, holds 5 school track records and is forever memorialized in the Roberts Wesleyan Hall of Fame. Known to students at Destiny as the fun-loving Mr. Jones, Rob Jones is our physical education teacher, a freelance graphic designer, and local entrepreneur. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Rob Jones.
Wow, thank you so much, everyone. I would like to truly start off by saying that I'm truly honored for this opportunity. I thank our school, Principal Lofton, for allowing me just to be a part of Destiny Christian School. I thank Dave Berry for, putting this whole event together. I thank my pastors, Pastor Darla and Pastor Steve, just for their uplifting prayers, and most of all the kids at Destiny Christian School. If you have never worked with kids before, you may not understand this. But as teachers and educators, as we pour into them, they are truly, truly pouring back into us, day after day after day. And sometimes I feel as though that they teach me more than I teach them. I must say that I am the man that I am because of my family, teachers, friends, coaches, and of course, the Lord, my personal Savior. There's an old saying most of us heard before, and it's truly in my notes. I didn't steal this from Emmett Smith just a second ago, but it does take a huge, huge village to raise a child, and that's my story. My grandfather, Willie Jones, who was a sharecropper in the South, decided to move up north for a better opportunity for his family. Hard worker. He built his own house in Niagara Falls, New York. And that house still stands today. My uncle still lives there today. My grandfather had a saying that when doing something you love doesn't seem like work. As a freshman in high school, lost and confused, a young man looking for life answers, my life was completely changed when my math teacher stepped into my life. And that is Mr. Meath, my high school coach, and he's here today. He came to me and saw something in me that I didn't see, the talent to be a runner. And I remember just real quick one story about Mr. Meath. He just so happened, like I said, to be my math teacher, and I was taking my exam. And how many of us in here like math? Raise your hand. Right, that's how I felt. Exactly how I felt. But he pushed me through. So one day, I was taking my exam. I tried to study. I did my best. And I said that I know he's not going to let me leave until he checks my paper, so I had to wait for him to take his break. He took his break, and I snuck out, and I went home to enjoy my summer because it was summertime. A couple hours later, who pulls up in the car, in the driveway, holding my exam? Was my math teacher, Mr. Meath. And he looks at me and says, "Rob, what did you do?" He says, "I can't pass you." And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and he says, "You just qualified for the Empire State Games this summer." He says, "I'm sending you to summer school, and I'm going to be your teacher." And I'm looking at this man, I'm just like, I only probably failed by a couple of points, can you? And he looked at me, he says, "I'm not going to pass you." And he said, in order for you to qualify to go to the Empire State Games, you cannot miss a day of school. You're only allowed to miss 3 days. And those 3 days that I was going to miss had to be dedicated for me to go to Albany to run in the Empire State Games. He came every day and picked me up from my job and trained me and trained me and trained me. went to Empire State Games, won my first gold medal in the 1,500 meter relay. I mean, the 1,500 meters. That right there started my journey to be a Hall of Famer at Weslyan, at Roberts Wesleyan College. There's another old saying that I'm sure many of you heard before, that behind every powerful man is a strong and praying woman. And my wife, Sonia, has been with me for the past 28 plus years. We married 26 years. And if you want to talk about someone who is dedicated to hard work, when the pandemic first hit, my wife's a registered nurse. She went full speed into the hospital saving lives. She didn't back down, she didn't back up. And she said, I said, Sonia, are you sure this is what you want to do? She said, yes. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go, but I have to do my job. And she did it, 12-hour shifts, day in and day out. So I truly thank you, Sonia, for not only being my supporter, but also my truly, truly best friend. My family, I love you guys. Thank you for taking the time to come and be with me on this day. My brother, who started reading the newspaper at the age of 4, an incredible, incredible engineer in Houston, Texas, came here just for this special occasion. So I'm going to just end with this. My family has a saying. And my Aunt Teresa used to look at me so many times and says, Rob, you can do it. She said, because you come from good stock. You come from good stock, meaning that you're a Jones. Now, I don't know what the saying means, keeping up with the Joneses. I know it's been there forever, but I am so thankful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, on behalf of the great Destiny Christian School staff, students, I'm gonna let that picture happen, and volunteers at our school, we present you, Pastor Steve is handing you the Destiny Lifetime Service Award for not just your work at the school, but outside of that, because you've done so much for so many.